money, and that's our Bobby Marks. Wendy had told us yesterday, or actually last week, you said the thing to start watching is, does Boston start selling off pieces? This obviously is the beginning of that.
Yeah, the most important thing to know is where they were with the second apron. And the second apron is a punitive restriction, the inability to make trades. They were roughly $22 million over the second apron. Chip away, chip away, chip away. This gets them to $18 million in the Jrue Holiday trade. You get back an expiring contract in Anthony Simons. You shed the $72 million owed to Holiday in years 3 and 4, and now it puts you in position, whether it be a Kristaps Porzingis potential trade on an expiring contract or another move to basically shed that salary. We're looking potentially at Boston saving potentially $200 million when we get through the next few weeks here. So it's a significant move for the Celtics. It's certainly a significant move for the Trailblazers as far as how both teams were able to get a deal done.
And under new ownership in Boston as well. Go ahead, Wendy.
We've got this fascinating thing happening in the NBA right now where these Western Conference teams are clawing each other's eyes out, trying to get to 8th or 9th or 10th place. This is a move that takes on $100 million for the Blazers, trying to see if they can get to 10th. And in the Eastern Conference, you have really good teams that are dealing with the fallout of this Achilles tendon problem who are trying to rip off pieces because they realize that they can't be so expensive if they're not going to be real contenders next year. We've already seen a couple of deals that look like this. Keep a very close eye on Boston in the next few days, and Indiana and Milwaukee, teams that are dealing with these Achilles tendon problems.
Let's live in Boston for a minute. They've traded off Holiday. I'm thinking of 3 names. I'm thinking of Kristaps Porzingis. I'm thinking of Derek White. And dare I say, I'm thinking of Jaylen Brown. Could we see anything with those 3 guys?
Porzingis, I definitely think that they are in discussions with. And again, you can't just trade him off. It would be trading him for a player probably who makes less money. That's what this was. Anthony Simons kind of fits what Boston does. He's a 3-point specialist. They would need someone to sort of be a big man, starting level big man for Porzingis if they made this deal, or at least at the end of it. But look for a Porzingis thing. As for the other 2-star players, I don't think Derek White and Jaylen Brown are players that they want to trade. Having said that, if somebody calls with a gigantic offer, I think that they would have to discuss it. I think they'd be looking at their other supporting players, maybe like a Sam Hauser, that they would be looking to do. But as Bobby described, they probably are going to have to make multiple more moves to save this money that they need to save.
I get it. And the money is interesting and it's important, but from the fans' perspective, it's the names that we're talking about here. So, Markeith, what do you think? They're going to be without, we would assume, like, these are all assumptions we're making, but I think they're reasonable. They're going to play a year without Jason Tatum, right? That's just what they're looking at here. But then they're going to get him back, and they're going to want to be right back in the middle of the championship conversation. So it's a, kind of a complicated little line to walk here, Markeith. Would you, if you were the Celtics, consider going full rebuild and trading Jaylen Brown?
I would not, Greeny. I would take my time with this thing, right? I would start off with the contract shedding to try to get under the salary cap and the tax because we've been living over the tax the last couple of years. And then I would get some complementary pieces that I would think that I would give out a chance to try to fit around Jaylen Brown, right? Because this year for Jaylen Brown will be the coming out year, the year that shows that he's a true #1 option in this league, right? If you ask me, he might just, being running for most improved, he might just be running for MVP with the range he will have and being able to lead a team for the first time in his career, right? But no, I wouldn't shed the team. I would get a couple pieces, put around him. I think this Anthony Simons piece is a real big deal because, he's a great scorer in the West, so he's going to be able to come to a team that's all about winning now because he's been a part of a team that lost so much. So he's going to find, how he truly is as a professional and can he help this team actually win. And it's all predicated based on what's going to happen the following year. So if he fits this team this year, then he'll be a big piece the following year to come when Jason Tatum is back.
The Jaylen Brown of it is interesting to me. I go back to the 90s when Michael Jordan retired the first time. The world wrote off the Bulls. Well, that's it. They're done. The 93-94 season, I will go to my grave saying Scottie Pippen should have been the MVP of the league that year. I still can't believe he didn't win MVP that year. They had a terrific season. They took the Knicks 7 heartbreaking games, a controversial call, all that stuff. Scottie Pippen really demonstrated he was more than just the Robin to Michael's Batman. It'll be interesting to see what Jaylen Brown's season is like without Tatum.
This is the new reality in the NBA. Is Jaylen Brown an excellent player? Yes, absolutely. Is he a $300 million player? That's where you get into some things. And so when you look at Jaylen Brown, a player who's just had knee surgery, they think he's going to be back and be fine, who makes $300 million. I'm not sure the value is there for the Celtics, even if they wanted to trade him. So I don't think that's something they're looking at.
The goal, and it's similar to, we're going to rewind the clock with Chicago, and it's almost like Jordan is Jason Tatum.
Right.
It's similar. How do you reset the roster? This is kind of a gap year right now, and then when Tatum returns, you have different pieces around him, and one of them certainly could still be Jaylen Brown here. In a perfect world, you'd love to be where Dallas was this past year, where you're a team that competes to maybe get into play-in, and then all of a sudden, the night of the lottery, you get a little lottery luck, and then you get a top pick to add to that roster that already is there. But you've got to have the pieces when Jason Tatum gets back healthy.
Yeah, the Mavericks' injuries suggest they should be in the East. That's where all the injuries are, instead of out West. Let's use that to take us to Indiana. The worst fears were realized yesterday regarding Tyrese Halliburton. We all saw it, the torn Achilles, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, playing through a calf strain. It was confirmed as the torn Achilles we suspected it would be. The injury cut short one of the most remarkable individual playoff runs ever, one in which Halliburton hit a tying or winning shot in the final seconds in all 4 rounds of the playoffs, and his team won 15 games. Around 11 o'clock Eastern time last night, Tyrese Halliburton released this post. It is really interesting and emotional and honest, and I recommend you read all of it. The part of it that we picked out here is when he writes, "Honestly, right now, torn Achilles and all, I don't regret it. I would do it again and again after that to fight for this city and my brothers, for the chance to do something special. Indy, I'm sorry. If any fan base doesn't deserve this, it's y'all. But together, we are going to fight like hell to get back to this very spot and get over this hurdle." There's so many things about this that are interesting, but I want to start with the player in the conversation. Markieff, there is a mentality that you guys understand that maybe we mere mortals can't fully understand. When you hear Halliburton lying in a hospital bed saying that he's unable to feel his foot, saying he would do it again if given the chance, what goes through your mind?
What goes through my mind first is, is just taking back the journey of being a little kid, having these moments in your head, watching these games as a kid and saying, I will be on that stage at one point in my career, right? And then actually finally getting there. And then something like the first injury happened, you have a decision to make.